Hello everyone! We are the localization team of an interesting gaming enterprise called EA3, and we're going to tell you about the world of games and why it is so important to study them.
Since we were little, we have always played and probably never noticed it. Whether at school, at home, or elsewhere, playing has always been present in the life of the human being. So, we can say that life is a game, right? But what is a game? Ludology will answer this question and many others. According to Johan Huizinga, a Dutch historian in his book Homo Ludens, a game is an action that takes place within certain limits of place, time, and will, in apparent order, according to rules freely agreed upon, and outside the world of material utility and necessity. If we take this definition and apply it to reality, many activities we do can become a game.
Well, and if you are not yet convinced, we can see here different types of games that simulate everyday activities, such as cooking toys, makeup, construction, and even a car wash. In addition to stimulating fine and motor coordination, the games, or in this case the toys, shows tasks or challenges in a more friendly way, since it is only the recreation of an activity and there are no serious consequences. As my colleague said before, games have been present in human life almost since the beginning. And an example of this is the Olympic Games that were inaugurated in 1251 BC in honor of the Greek god Zeus.
If we see ludology in an anthropological way, the concept of the game was very different from what it's now. As already mentioned, the ancient Olympic Games were created in honor of the god Zeus and were athletic festivals celebrated in 776 BC. It must be considered that the concept of the entertainment at this time consisted of watching or participating in championships where people competed in combats and carried races. Those who won in the Olympics were crowned with a wreath of wild olive, laurel, or pine. Now, we moved from the Olympic Games to the Roman Colosseum or the Flavian Amphitheater. Although the competitions were still the focus of attention, this changed a little. Now the fashion was to see gladiators facing wild animals, the monera, a fight between gladiators, and chiefs with their own fleet facing enemy chiefs. Chiefs inside the Roman Colosseum? Yes. This is because the Colosseum had a water channeling system that allowed it quickly fill and empty the lower floor.
One of the main points of ludology is the creation of playful activities for children's learning. So there are songs and type of games that we could define as children's games that, if we analyze them, are educational tools that serve to stimulate different skills. First of all, we have the functional games where motor actions are performed to explore different objects and respond to certain stimuli. This type of game promotes sensory development, object permanence, and the ability to recognize cause and effect. Then, there are the construction games that go together with the functional games and that begin in the child's first year. These games, such as Jenga and puzzles, promote the development of creativity, hand-eye coordination, and location in time and space.
Finally, there are games with rules, such as role-playing games, which appear before the age of 6 and consist of setting rules for the game that can be changed as long as everyone agrees. In addition to being learning tools, games are a socialization mechanism because they express preferences, customs, tendencies, tastes, beliefs, modes of reasoning specific to a given culture. This is how teen games appear, because they are about two opposing forces facing a goal, that is to win the game. However, times have changed, and we no longer play with dolls and toy soldiers. Now everything is more technological, and games have not been left behind with the appearance of video games or electronic games.
Video games are different from traditional games, as they are in a digital and audiovisual format. Over time, they have gone from being simple entertainment to fantastic stories with characters that had been incorporated into our popular culture. There is a discussion here about the audience for video games. Some people think that they are just entertainment for children, while others say there is no age to stop playing. Personally, I prefer the second view because video games are not very different from an art form like music, painting, literature, or cinema, with the difference that we, as the audience, can interact with the artwork. Like in some romantic novels, we have our main character who has to overcome certain challenges in order to face his antagonist and achieve his goal of saving his loved one.
We also have video games that emulate a certain period of our history, a sport, or simply test our skills. Anyway, video games are a phenomenon that we all know, and the way we play them is constantly changing. The interaction has become bigger and bigger to the point of involving almost all our senses when we play. In the beginning, Ludology was a mixture of different scientific fields, such as sociology, philosophy, computer science, and anthropology, all focused on the effect that games have on society. However, in 2001, the Danish theorist Jesper Juul created the magazine Game Studies, which determines the method of study of video games and also their approaches, such as narration, scenario design, character creation, etc.
Several concepts of video games have also been defined, such as genres, which means action games, adventure games, role-playing games, etc., and the ESRB classification system, which means whether the contents of the video game are suitable for a particular audience. And as my partner said, video games are not much different from other art forms. It is not uncommon to see them mixed like some video games based on movies or books. Some famous artists or songs that appear in a video game, or a video game as the main idea of a movie. So, to analyze a video game is not only about playing it, but also about all the graphic and narrative aspects of it.
As video games have become more popular, so have the companies that make them. These companies are a reference for anyone who wants to enter the world of video game creation that we will review here. The first company is Atari, which was the first to enter the world of video games in 1972 with its product Pong and Area 51. Then there was Namco, which, although less known, has had its special character, Pac-Man, since 1980. On the other hand, there is Nintendo, one of the most famous to this day, and which already has popular characters such as Mario, Link, and Donkey Kong. There is also its agonist, Sega, with whom it had a great rivalry and who was recognized by its character Sonic the Hedgehog.
However, with the progress of technology, video game consoles have also appeared that need more and more powerful hardware to reproduce the ideas of video game creators. For example, Sony a company that designed electronic products for music and video, entered the world of video games with its console known as PlayStation. Its opponent, Microsoft, was not far behind, and as it progressed in computer development, it created its flagship product in video games, the Xbox. These two companies are the best known today and are the ones that attract all the attention in the presentations of new video games and consoles.
Nowadays, the video game scene has developed a lot. There are video games reviews, video game conventions, and even professional esports teams. This can make us think that video games are not just a simple act of entertainment. They are part of our culture, and like books or movies, they are full of stories, messages, and lessons that we might have ignored. But now that we understand their context, we can discover them. Thanks to Ludology, games have managed to go from being something of little importance to one of the most profitable industries along with movies and music in 2005. Moreover, being closely linked to technology, this industry is progressing so fast that in a few more years it could completely change the way we play and what we play. A perfect example of this is gaming rehabilitation.
Gaming rehabilitation is a therapy where video games are used to guide and improve the physical and mental difficulties of patients through platforms with motion control, like the Nintendo Wii and Xbox Kinect. These game consoles have the ability to capture data in real time and provide immediate feedback to patients. This type of therapy has been applied to groups of all ages with different diagnoses, from neurological disorders to people with tendonitis and multiple sclerosis. You must be wondering though, why choose a therapy like this? Well, let me tell you, video games in rehabilitation allow patient involvement and enjoyment. It has been demonstrated that people feel more engaged in a gaming environment and less contained in a medical office when interacting in a virtual reality environment. Patients who seek game-based rehabilitation have been shown that greater commitment to therapy are more likely to continue their treatment outside medical facility than those who are in a normal therapy.
One game, for example, named Circus Challenge, created by scientists at Newcastle University, is a Wii game developed especially to help patients recovering from stroke regain functionality in their arms and hands. It's a game that challenges them to perform tasks in the game that strengthen their muscles and help their brain relearn movements damaged in the stroke. Patients perform simple movements such as raising their arms to shoulder height or waving their arms up and down, which correspond to the actions shown on the screen where a game is introducing them to the fabulous world of the circus. So, when a patient raises their arms, they are not only performing repetitive movements, but they are taming lions or learning how to be a trapeze artist.
In light of the aging population, there has been an interest in the use of video games to improve the general health and social connectedness of older gamers. For example, Adam Gazzaley and his team, a group of scientists at the University of California, San Francisco, designed NeuroRacer, a video game that can measure and repair age-related neural deterioration. The game involves driving a vehicle on a road while different signs appear on the screen. The purpose is to respond to these signs as demanded.
Expanding outside of virtual reality systems and video game systems, a newer format of video game rehabilitation is focused on games that can be played on phones or tablets. Although it's still relatively new, it has proven to be effective in wrist and hand rehabilitation and revealed that patients can have more flexibility in their therapy sessions by being able to track their progress on their phone and doing exercise at home with them. Increased finger use after stroke is another area for which this methodology has proven effective. In this case, the app Game Fruit Ninja was used to measure patients' finger use and hand control when performing movements such as cutting fruit in the game. Positive results suggest that the patient interaction with the game could determine and complement other methods of therapy.
With the great development of virtual reality and the graphic quality that video games of the future could have, it is thought that in a few more years we could use all our senses while playing a video game and even feel like our character, thanks to customs that mimic the body sensations of the character. In conclusion, games, and especially video games, are something that came to stay. So we recommend that just as we enjoy a good book or a good movie, we should also enjoy everything that a good game has to offer. Thank you very much for your attention, and we wish to respond to your question.